Are you looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via live stream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbprou.com.
Good evening and welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05. I'm your host, Andrew Frazier, and excited to be back with you once again on Tuesday evening. Hopefully everybody had a great holiday weekend. Even if you didn't get the day off, as a business owner, you probably didn't. I didn't either, but it was still nice to kind of have a holiday weekend. Definitely, hopefully your year is going well. And really the key to being able to have a great year is being able to sell and meet your revenue goals. As you may know, my goal is to help you make 2025 your best year ever by helping you to sell more, maximize profit, and finance growth. Live stream is just a piece of that. The more that you know, the faster your business will grow. So as you know, I always say that sales and marketing is your most important job because, if you don't have sales, you don't really have a business. And if you don't market well, or the better you market, the more sales you're going to get. So, the combination of doing those things well goes a long way towards creating a successful business. So tonight, we're going to be talking about sales, we're going to talk about engineering your sales process for revenue. A lot of times, as business owners, we sell, but do we have a process? Is it consistent? Do we create consistent revenue? We're going to talk a little bit about that and how to do that. My guest, Sam Rockaway, that's really what he does, and he's really developed a process and understands how to do that. So I'm excited to really talk to him and, get as much out of the experience as well, not just to help you learn, but, I'm in business too. I can always be better at selling as well. So let me invite him on now. Hey, Sam, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, excellent. Well, thanks for being on. We chatted not too long ago, a little bit about kind of your background and what you're doing and, how you approach sales, and definitely thought it would be valuable for our audience tonight.
Yeah, great. Thanks. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, excellent. So, before we get started, I know who you are, but the audience doesn't. So, if you could take a few minutes, talk a little bit about your journey,
Sure.
How you got to where you are and, key milestones.
Sure. So I'm born and raised in New Jersey. After high school, I went to get a job in a body shop because I just was not ready for college. And then a few years after that, I ended up purchasing the same body shop that I was working at. And a few years after that, I'm still very young. I'm in my early 20s. I started to attend local classes at the college, at the university, and just went on, and I went through that process, and I got my 4-year degree, which probably took me 6 years. And then at some point thereafter, I sold the body shop and took a job at Johnson & Johnson, which was a huge jump from a body shop to Johnson & Johnson. And I worked in corporate finance. And I traveled around the world to the operating companies, got to experience different cultures, really learned how to cut my teeth selling audit comments, so to speak, to company presidents and CFOs. And then the travel was a little bit too much. About 7 years later, I went to Pharmacia, and then Pharmacia got purchased by Pfizer. And that wasn't in my plan. 9/11 had happened. So I just took a year off, kind of thought about what I was going to do, and ended up selling insurance to car dealerships because I knew the automotive industry. And then I met the owner of REDCOM, which is Greg Reddington, through that. And, the first day I met him, he asked me if I wanted to work at REDCOM as the head of sales. And at the time, I really didn't understand construction that well. And I didn't certainly understand approval processes or architecture. So I said no. And 4 years later, I said yes to Greg. He was persistent. And it was the best decision I made along the way. It was great. I got tremendous experience, met a bunch of fantastic people, and had a great team to work with. And it's been a long time. And here I am.
Excellent. So, definitely, you've had a journey across different industries and disciplines.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, it really adds to your knowledge base and your perspective. I've had an opportunity to do that as well, but sometimes it is hard to find your home.
Right. Yeah, it took a while.
But you've honed in on selling, and really found that to be able to create success in that space. So we're gonna dig into that and talk a little bit more about some of the things you've learned and some of the things that you do within your organization. But before we do that, I'm just going to take a minute to share a short video about Small Business Pro University, so people sort of have a better feel for sort of how we help entrepreneurs and business owners.
All right, great.
Many small businesses experience low or no revenue growth, and the owners are not making enough money. I founded Small Business Pro University to help you break that cycle by empowering you with greater knowledge and enhanced skills to lead your organization more effectively. Over the past 15 years, I've collaborated with organizations like the Small Business Development Center, Rising Tide Capital, Empower the Village, NJMEP, Rutgers University, and SCORE to work one-on-one with over 1,000 business owners and teach tens of thousands of people about business. My experience includes serving as a naval officer, managing businesses, graduating from MIT, earning an MBA from NYU, and achieving the CFA designation, which has prepared me to accomplish my mission of helping 1 million and 8 business owners to sell more, maximize profit, and finance growth by 2028. My vision is to create the ultimate business ecosystem for entrepreneurs. Small Business Pro University empowers entrepreneurs like you to run their businesses more professionally and create sustainable enterprises. We employ my proven proprietary Masterpreneur playbook framework to guide your journey along the Masterpreneur path and facilitate your Masterpreneur evolution to work on your business and scale faster and easier. Small Business Pro University provides access to valuable resources, partnerships, and relationships that will help you to sell more, maximize profit, and finance growth. Our Masterpreneur initiatives include the Small Business Pro Network, 100+ expert-led multimedia courses, intensive training workshops, Spanish language training, Leadership Live at 8:05 live stream and podcast, in-person Power Breakfast events, and advisory coaching, consulting, and training services. Okay, welcome back. I'm here with Sam Rockaway, and we're talking small business, and we're just getting started on our conversation about engineering your selling process for consistent revenue. So, both of us sort of have an engineering background. So, definitely processes and systems, resonate with us, possibly a lot easier than others. But, what is a process and why is it important to have a process?
Right. So the process for me, when I first started at REDCOM, I had, 10 or 20 different leads. And then 6 months later, I had 40 leads. And then 6 months later, I had 100 leads. And I work with engineers and architects, and we always said, how are we going to manage these? How do we prioritize and rank these leads? So I didn't have a good answer at the time. So I figured out how to come up with a sales process that worked for the construction industry. And I have the leads isolated out as stage 1, stage 2, or stage 3. Stage 1 are prospects or suspects that I essentially deal with. When I say I, the sales department would deal with them and work through with the prospects, speak to the clients. And then once that client needs a service from an architect or an engineer or a project manager, the sale then the stage then goes from 1 to 2. I'll create a proposal, present it to the prospect, assuming they accept the terms and conditions of the proposal. Then it becomes a stage 2 where an architect or an engineer or project manager is assigned to it. And that could take anywhere from 1 year to 2 years of worth of work for that person, because what we do takes an awful lot of time, and it's a slow process to get something completed, whether it's at an architectural firm, an engineering firm, or a general contracting firm. It's a process. And then once we have a proposal done from a stage 2, it goes to a stage 3. And essentially it falls back to my responsibility to convert that to a project or a set of architectural plans or a site plan approval, something to that effect. And then along the way, we rank the lead as well. So we rank it based on its proximity to our office. If it's, does the prospect I'm working with own the land, or are they thinking about buying the land? Because if they don't own the land, it's going to take an awful long time for them to own the land, and they may be hesitant to spend money. So we all have 24 hours in a day, and I try to use my time wisely. So that's just, so we rank, that's one of the ranks we use. Do they own the land? Have they ever built before? That's another question that I always ask. And is it in our industry? So is it in the automotive, industrial, or institutional markets, as opposed to, like, is it retail, fit out, or is it a restaurant or something along those lines? So we give it either gets points or gets points taken away from it. And, the points are from 0 to 100. So the higher ranking leads get more attention and more priority. So we do that. And then we, consistently meet with the client to make sure that we're meeting their expectations, they're happy, and we're communicating clearly with them, and everyone's happy. That's pretty much what I do for each lead.
Okay. So, you have a process, sort of 3 steps in leads.
Mm-hmm.
And you talked about sort of what you do with your leads, your prospects. And, one thing is ranking, but you also sort of pre-qualify them.
Yes.
And how important is that, and how much has that helped you to be able to generate more revenue?
So when I first joined REDCOM, we would do free site schematics and free architectural schematics for people in hopes that they would come back to use us. And we did that for years. And after a while, you realize there's tire kickers and there's people that are just taking advantage of you. So we decided to charge the next client that called $2,000 for a site schematic that would cost $10,000 or even more. And they said, no. Oh, no, it's too much money. So that was an aha moment for us. When I say us, it was there's about 5 of us: the head architect, the head engineer, the head of construction, and the owner. And we kind of woke up and said, you know what, we should start charging for this stuff. So we started to charge for architecturals, charge for site schematics, and charge for approvals. and just trying to qualify people, because there's only so much time in a day. And when you have a lot of leads, you really need to do justice to the support staff that's working with you by qualifying your prospects and by making sure they have enough money to pay for the construction or the site plan approval, making sure that they have the wherewithal to move to the next step. I'll give you an example. Last week I had met with someone that wants to build a 10,000 square foot facility that has apartments on it, and their budget's $2.5 million. That's not enough. I've been doing this for a long time, and it's every bit of 5 or 6 million. So that's a concern. They don't have financing in place. So that's not that, in my view, that project could happen, but it's not going to happen in the next 6 months. So I push that to the side and I focus on something that's going to happen in the next 6 months, because we have 50 employees and they need work, constant flow of work.
Okay. So you started charging, and really opened your eyes to, I guess, who's serious and who's not serious.
Right.
And did you find that made you focus on a tighter niche? As a result, were there certain people you were seeking, that you were marketing to that you shouldn't have been marketing to, or was it just specific instances with specific companies that weren't ready?
I think it's a little of both. We deal with a lot of family-owned businesses, or owned by we're owned by a 55-year-old male. Most of the people that own the businesses that we work with are males. I would say 70 or 80% of them are males. And then you have a small percentage that's females. And they're all about middle age. And some of them will just waste your time. And you have to be able to recognize when a customer is not going to be a good fit or for your company. And you have to have the wherewithal to realize that and say, this is not a good fit for us, and not to get sidetracked by greed or by trying to get the sale, but really do the right thing and try to help the customer through the process. And if it's not a good fit, you're better off just stopping right there and moving on, in my view.
Okay. So you got it helped you be more specific and more focused in what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, we have a list of about 6 qualification questions, and one of them is, have you ever built before? If they've never built before and they've never gotten an approval in New Jersey, they're not going to believe how difficult it is to go through that process and how expensive it is. So then I will just share with them how long that takes and how expensive it can be on top of their construction budget. You could easily spend $1 million on an approval in New Jersey on a commercial project. Between the site application and that whole process will probably run you about $500,000 to $600,000. And then at the end of that, you still have your resolution to get through, and then you have your COA fees. COA fees is 2.5% of the assessed value of the completed project, including the land value. So if you buy a piece of land for $5 million and you put a 50,000 square foot building on it for $10 million, now you're going to pay 2.5% of $15 million. It adds up.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can't get your plans, your permits, without paying that money. So there's no way around it. So I asked them if they've ever gone through it, and then I'll explain to them that process. Then I ask them if they've gotten financing, and I run a pro forma for them, and I give them an idea what the costs are going to be. I also give them ballparks right away. So somebody calls me up, I got a 100,000 square foot building I'd like built. How much does it cost? I don't know if it's a square or a rectangle at that point. I don't know if there's floor drains, if there's 10 doors or 100 doors. They don't know either. But we came up with a ballpark cheat sheet, an average cost per foot for different size buildings. So I'll run through it and say, hey, it's $78 a foot for this, $40 a foot for site work. And before you know it, you're at $15 million or, whatever it is, 10, $20 million. Our average sales about 5 million, and we go up to 40 million. So those are the neighborhoods I kind of work in.
Okay. And so you have like a pretty consultative process
Yes.
that you go through with clients. So, at the end of the day, when you're, what makes a good product or service is that it, provides a solution to your clients and the best solution possible. So,
Right.
Making that effort to do that is key. So
Yeah.
now, you want to add?
You were onto something there, the solution. So a lot of people think a relationship sells or closes the deal. And a relationship is important. If the person that you're working with, if your prospect or your customer doesn't like you, they're definitely not going to buy from you. But if they do like you and you get along with them well and you have a good relationship with them, they're only going to buy from you if your price is in line with the competitor's price. If I'm at $5 million and the competitor's at $4.5 million, no matter how good my relationship is with them, they're not going to buy it from me. Not for that big difference. But if you find a pain point, and this is to what the comment that you said, if you find a pain point and you focus on that pain point and you differentiate yourself from the others, they're not going to look at the price. It's going to be a completely different experience for both of you.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. So now, you've got a long sales cycle with what you're doing now, right, but you've also sold in with shorter sales cycles. Definitely, I guess the insurance, probably the auto as well. How does the long sales process differ from the shorter sales process? And are there different strategies for each?
Yeah, there definitely is. I got a call last Friday night from a client that I've been chasing for 6 years. And he owns a dealership in New Jersey. And it's just, I've talked to him a dozen times. I even got placed on a seat next to him on the way to a national auto dealers convention about 3 years ago. And he just wasn't ready, I guess, at the time. And I just politely stayed in touch with him. Every 3 or 4 months, I'd send him a postcard with my name on it saying, hey, Bill, I'm still here. If there's anything I could do, please reach out to me. And I'd bump into him occasionally at an association meeting and just say, hi, Bill, I'm still here if you need any help. And that's what I did. You just have to have the patience and the tenacity and don't give up, because they're going to build it. If they own the land, they will build it because they're paying taxes on it. And there's a lot of carrying costs to owning land that's just sitting there vacant. So you just have to be patient and work with them. You can't sell something for $5 or $10 million. You need to find a real need, and then they will move forward with it.
Excellent. And that also refers back to touches.
Yeah.
In sales, they say it's 7 to 12 touches on average before someone's going to buy from you. So follow-up is important. And most people don't do a good job of follow-up.
Right.
So, you gave a good example of sort of how you did the follow-up. Are there other ways that you follow up as well? And how do you stay in touch with people?
I stay in touch with people through on the phone calls. I stop by. I try to take them to lunch. That's probably the way I follow up with them, and I try to I become more than I don't try to sell them anything. I try to become an asset to their business. So when I had a chance to meet with them at the first time, I try to ask them what their master plan is for the next 5 or 10 years. And then I identify what they tell me and I write it down and I put it in a folder. And if I get a young dealer, let's say a 40 or a 50-year-old dealer, and he tells me I want to own 4 stores in the next 10 years, well, then I know this guy's going to he's going to buy 4 stores or build 4 stores. And I do that with every prospect I meet. I ask them what their master plan is, and I jot it down, and I try to become an asset to them by finding them land, by introducing them to other dealers that might be selling stores or other logistics centers that are up for sale or available or off-market deals. I try to bring them more than just what my agenda is. I try to give them information that they could use for their business that doesn't really help me other than put me in a trusted position with them. And that has worked out for me really well.
Okay. And many times they say you have to give to get.
Yes.
A lot of times you can't get first if you don't offer anything. So, definitely that's a great example. And, building the relationship and building a relationship of trust. And just of understanding, seeing that you understand what they're trying to do, and are there to assist. So now you also talked about processes, and we got several questions around processes in the chat. So I want to just bring up a couple of them real quick. First one here, what is the number one key to a successful sales process?
I would say just buy in from your team. So for me, I work with engineers and architects, and my sales process, they were very comfortable with. They felt that I was going to do a good job qualifying the leads. And when it came across their plate, that they had a viable opportunity in front of them and that they gave it their all. So so getting buy-in from your team, I think, is important, and having a process that's realistic. I do work with engineers, and my process can be very complex. And between stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3, there's probably 100 different steps that we've documented. And I don't follow every one of them, but I follow 90% of them. So come up with a process that works for you and your team, follow your process, and evaluate it every so often. Every year I look at it and I see what's changed. And sure enough, something has changed, whether it's the way we sell, the clients we sell to, but something is different every year. And we make the updates and share it with the team again.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So now, when you're, when you go through your 3-step process, going from prospects to leads to customers, do you do that whole process yourself, or do you break that up?
No, right now it's intuitive. It's just natural to me. So yes, each one of myself and my team go through that whole process. So we'll all have our own stage 1s, which are suspects and prospects. And then as we convert them from stage 1s to 2s, that's with some sort of a consulting proposal, then they're 2s. And that salesperson still is the quarterback of that prospect while the engineers are working on it. I don't really let the engineers and architects engage too much with the customers until they're heavily involved in their project. Because they'll just burn their time, and these professionals need to account for their time. So we're the gatekeepers to them until they've actually signed up for like a site approval or an architectural set of CDs where they'll have weekly meetings with the architects and engineers on their own and their team. And I don't always get involved with that because it's just too time consuming.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Another question a little bit about the role that follow up plays in revenue consistency. I know we talked a little bit about follow up, but anything else you want to share on that?
Well, for us, when I first started selling for REDCOM, I would say for the first 5 or 6 years, we didn't generate any revenue from because we didn't have consulting agreements. We would really just shake hands and then get it approved at our own risk, do the drawings at our own risk, and then build it. And then we would get our check. We would get paid at that point. So we had really tough cash flow. It was hard to get cash flow. With the consulting agreements, we'll do consulting agreements for site schematics, which is really just someone looking for a piece of land. What do you want to do with the land? And just draw, the engineers will draw some schematics that they'll be able to use, but they're quick and it generates cash. The architects will do schematics too for additions, for ground ups. They'll do hand sketches, CAD sketches, Revit sketches. And we went from no revenue to do almost $3 million a year in consulting revenue, just from sketches and site approvals and architectural CDs. So it's been great for the company as a whole because we get paid consistently from it. Every month we're sending bills out and getting paid for it. It's providing a great service to the customers that need it, and the real estate brokers, we help them close deals because the schematics let their clients understand what they can actually do with the land before they make an offer on it. So it serves more than just cash flow consistently. It serves more than just generating cash flow for us, but which is very helpful.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. I actually have, shifted over a little while back to before working with people doing an assessment with them.
Yeah.
So that, we can really provide them value and information and perspective. Not do it on our dime, but theirs, because we are providing value. Mm-hmm. And then also you build a relationship. They have worked with you, so they see how you work, and then it's easier to commit to something longer term. So that definitely makes sense.
Right.
So
we do free feasibility studies for people still.
Okay.
We'll give them a complete overview of a piece of property that someone's looking to buy. Not a property, not an appraisal, but a feasibility study. So site constraints, setbacks, zoning analysis. Here you go.
Okay. So something you can do fairly quick.
Yeah, it takes 4 hours or so.
Okay. So now, question here, what's the biggest mistake salespeople make when engineering their processes?
Being too optimistic, I think. Being too optimistic about or setting the wrong expectations, or expectations that are too high. At least that was the challenge for me. I thought, initially I thought I could do it all on my own and I didn't need the sales process. But then I realized we do need the sales process. And as we go through it, can we shorten it? Can we lengthen it? Do we really need to rank leads? Do we really need to put all this information in there? Yeah, we do. But it took me a little while to realize that it was important. So take your time with your process. Think about it. Think about what's important for you and for the client, because it's without the client, we don't have a sales process. And then print it out, look at it, and follow it. That's what I would recommend.
Okay. So, excellent. So we covered a lot of stuff, and just want to take a few minutes out. One thing we do here, one of our programs you saw is, we do the power breakfast events for entrepreneurs and business owners, and really as a way to make connections, build relationships, and share expertise. So our next one's coming up on March 21st. And so if you're in the Jersey area, hopefully you can make it out and join us. We're going to be at the Galloping Hills Golf Course in Kenilworth, New Jersey. And, here's a short video, sort of what it's going to be all about.
When I tell you that you walk into this space and you know it's a different type of energy, are you going to be supercharged? Of course you are. I'm supercharged right now.
Power Breakfast is a great event. It certainly helped me in my business. I've met a lot of referral partners, a lot of clients.
Everyone has an opportunity to connect with small and medium-sized businesses all over New Jersey and really get the most and understand the resources that are out there and available to them.
Hi, I'm Andrew Frazier, Masterpreneur and founder of Small Business Pro University. For more than 10 years, our Power Breakfast events have directly resulted in tens of millions of dollars in both revenue and financing for attendees. Join me at the Power Breakfast in the clubhouse at Galloping Hill Golf Course in Kenilworth, New Jersey on Friday, March 21st to learn best practices, enjoy great networking, and gain useful knowledge. We will supercharge your day.
Today's Power Breakfast was not only inspirational, but I walked away with some tangible skills and techniques that I can put into action in my business when I go home today.
This Power Breakfast theme is work on your business and scale. You don't want to miss our featured guest speaker, Wallace Santos, CEO of Main Gear.
I'm Wallace, CEO and founder for Main Gear Computers. We manufacture gaming PCs and we sell them online, so maingear.com. Today we're considered basically the Ferrari of gaming PCs. Think of really beautiful bespoke computers that are designed for performance and entertainment. That's what we do.
I look forward to seeing you at the Power Breakfast in the clubhouse at Galloping Hill Golf Course in Kenilworth, New Jersey on Friday, March 21st. To learn more and register, visit www.sbprouU.com/power-breakfast. Take advantage of early bird pricing by registering today at www.sbprouU.com/power-breakfast. All right, welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05. I'm your host, Andrew Frazier. I'm here with Sam Rockaway, and we're talking about engineering your sales process for consistent revenue. We've got some great questions and comments from the listeners, and definitely keep them coming. Want to ask you a couple more questions from the chat. One of the questions that I want to do is, when you talk about sales, a lot of times they talk about objections, and in a structured process, how do you deal with objections, and how do those fit in?
Good question. It's tough. I got my my head handed to me about 3 weeks ago by a prospect that we are in the site. We have the building. We have the site approved. We're doing the architectural. So he's committed to us, but we really haven't talked about the price recently. And the building went from a 7,000 square foot addition to a 10,000 square foot addition with a full gut renovation. So it's significantly changed over the year. I've been working with them for about 2 years. And it went from a $3 million project to a $6 million project. And I don't have plans yet. So I kind of guessed on the 6 million. It could be 5.5, it could be 6.5, but it's not 3. And when I said that to the customer, he got so upset with me. I'm not doing it. I'm going to get somebody else. You're nuts. This push back on me. And you just got to sit there and take it and smile as best you can and realize it's not over. They're just shocked. They're just surprised. They have the money. They can't afford it. They don't want to waste their money. But you just got to make sure that you show them, at least for me, it works. Show them what they're actually buying, walk through it, go back, sit with them again, and walk them through the process, and be as honest as you can with them. I don't misrepresent facts. As tough as some are to say to customers, my model has always been, don't misrepresent any facts. Just be direct, be honest, and that's all you can do. Just hopefully you see eye to eye and you get the deal. There's no way to combat rejection. It's tough to do. It's tough to do.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. And one of the big things I look at and is expectations and scope of work. And like you said, a lot of times your clients assume things that are included or that may not be included or may impact the scope. Right. So just managing expectations becomes so important.
So I also, when I meet with clients, I'm very calm and I'm patient and I listen to them attentively, and I try to have that same pattern of emotions throughout whenever I meet with them. So whether it's over 6 months, a year and a half. So when a hiccup in the road does come, they know what to expect from me, and I don't get excited. I never get excited. I just listen to them and let them get excited. Even if they're screaming at me, I just don't get excited. I don't push back on them.
Okay. And was that always the case? I mean, definitely it seems like that's a skill that you have to develop.
Yeah. I don't think it was always the case, but I don't remember myself saying, you got to do this. So I think I just evolved by reading. I read a lot of books. I watch a lot of videos. I listen to a lot of videos. I listen to podcasts like this, and I take all these little nuggets and I form myself out of it.
Okay. And, that's a great point. You have to have a lifetime of learning. You've been in sales many years, but you still look to learn more.
I sat down with a customer once. I was with my estimator. I usually bring an estimator to the proposal, and it wasn't a big proposal. It was like $500,000. And as soon as I showed him the price, he stood up behind his desk and threw me out of his office. He screamed at the top of his lungs, "Get out of my office." We left. That was it. I haven't seen him since. But he has a partner, and I've built 3 stores for them over the last, 6-7 years. But I just haven't dealt with that one person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And, like you said, you shouldn't be doing business with everybody. No, so correct. You need to make sure it's a fit and that you can, have a successful project. Because, since they're the client, if they're not happy, then the project's not successful. So,
and a lot of times the client, when I gave him the price of $6 million, I shocked him. He in his head remembered 3. Now it went from 3 to 6. So he wasn't mad at me. He was just shocked. So you got to recognize that and just let them vent for a few minutes, however long they want to vent, and then move on.
Okay. Excellent. So, we've been talking about the long sales cycle. So when you were selling insurance, what was that sales process like? And how did you work through your prospects, leads, and customers?
That was, so I'd essentially drive around, and I had a list of calls, and I would go see those clients. I only sold insurance for a year. So it was a transitional point. I didn't know what to do, and I was off for a year. And my wife was like, "You really got to get up and get out of the house and do something." So I would drive around. I would, with my list of calls, visit the folks, and try to give them a competitive bid on their insurance. It's a difficult sale. I think it's harder selling a $10,000 BOP insurance policy than it is selling a $5 million building to someone. So it was tough. The body shop where I would, people would come in for an estimate on a car and get a dent or a paint job. that they were quick turnovers. They would be, a month or 2 months, maybe 2 weeks. So that was good. You just had to instill confidence in that client, in that prospect, that you were going to do a good job with their car. So if they had that, I would walk them through the shop, show them the shop, have them meet the team, and show them pictures of the cars that we've done. And it worked. It worked. Not everyone would say yes, but a lot of people would say yes.
Okay. All right. So, as you mentioned, each industry and, type of products and service, it's going to have a little different sales process, and it's going to require different marketing. So there's not really necessarily a one size fits all. There might be frameworks that can fit all, but they have to be flexible enough to take into account different industries and different dynamics of different companies.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, selling a cell phone or selling a $10,000 item or a service is completely different than selling a building or a piece of real estate.
Okay. So now, when you're coming at sales as a business owner, as opposed to a salesperson,
Mm-hmm.
does that change your perspective or how you look at it? Because you've been both.
Right. No, I don't think it does. I think that has really helped me a lot. I care immensely. I don't own REDCOM, right? Not at all. I'm an employee there, but I treat my team like we are one, and I treat my customers like they're mine. So I feel like I own it. So I walk out with a lot of passion. I have a tremendous amount of passion for what I do because I enjoy my job. We provided a great service to folks. And at the end of the job, you've actually helped them. You've built them a building or you've renovated something, and now they're making more money and they're able to grow their business. And then if you do a good job, they'll call you back and you'll build them another building.
Okay. Excellent. So another question, how important is data in optimizing your sales process? What type of data do you use, and how important is it? Has it been?
We did a profile of our customer, our average customer, and that was about 5 of us sat around and we looked at our average customers for the last 5 or 10 years, and what kind of a personality they have, and then we built a sales process based on that. And stage 1 has 10 or 15 steps in it. One of the steps is, physically go and drive and meet them. Go look at their office, go look at their building, see how they keep it, see how they maintain it, and then come back with that information. Do they like high-end finishes or light finishes, or, paneling or Italian marble? So that's all important information to know. And I gather all that information during the while it's a stage 1. So when we're doing an estimate, the estimators understand their personalities a little bit, and that helps. So I think it's important to do that.
Excellent. So now, given that AI is big now, do you use any AI? And
Yeah, all the time.
how's that impacting your business?
No, we use it for writing and coming up with sales letters or different ways to communicate. But that's essentially what we use it for. We're looking at AI right now and how it can help us with our CRM. But it's really, we just started looking at it, and I don't know the answer to it right now. I don't know if it can help either, but it definitely helps with writing.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, definitely still early in the AI process. A lot of people are figuring it out, but it does provide some extremely valuable tools, and you don't want to get left behind by it. So that's good. And I would say, I'm at least twice as productive now than I was 2 years ago because of that. So it makes a huge difference, and especially if you're small, getting that leverage, because a lot of times you don't have a lot of leverage. So in what you do and in your business. So
It definitely helps.
so cool. So now, you said you're continually learning, you do different things. Who do you look up to, and who do you focus on? Who do you like to learn from in this process and selling? And
So, right, I mean, I listened to Tony Robbins for a long time when I was younger. So I always found him interesting. I like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He has a great documentary on I forget what channel, but his story is really good. So is Sylvester Stallone's. So I look for people like that who have fought their way through a very challenging industry and ended up at the top. And there's for me, it's a lot of good information in there. And then I try to read sales books. I read sales books and listen to podcasts and TED Talks. And right now I'm listening to Vanessa Van Edwards about personalities and cues and body language. And I've probably listened to her for about 10 hours in the past few weeks, maybe even more, maybe 20 hours. And I'm going to continue to do it. And I'm finding that to be my next, I want to understand that more. I'm very interested in that.
Okay. No, definitely being able to read your customers or your potential customers,
Right,
and understand them, and understand their nonverbal feedback. Actually, we have a show coming up. I think it's in April, where we have someone who that's their expertise.
Oh, wow. That's great.
So,
We got to get the date.
definitely looking forward to that as well. But yeah, I mean, anything you can do to get an edge, especially in selling, and things are, getting more and more competitive as well.
Yeah, it's difficult.
So now, are you seeing consolidation impacting your customers and your sales process?
I am seeing consolidation in the automotive industry. In New Jersey, we used to have, I don't know how many rooftops we have now, how many actual dealers there are in New Jersey, but we had over 600 maybe 10 years ago. And now we have probably in the 500 range. So what's happening is that the bigger public companies are buying up the small dealerships and rolling them into their portfolios. And that changes the dynamic, because if you drive to the store and go to visit the owner's not there. The owner's probably in Texas or in Florida or somewhere else. And the person running that store has no authority to talk about construction or adding on or buying a new point. So how I find and identify and communicate and meet with owners in the automotive business is changing dramatically. I don't think it's going to, I think I'll be okay, but I think the young people on my team are going to have to learn how to communicate with people out of state and go visit them at some point in the next 10 or 15 years. I'm not there yet.
Okay. Now, we've talked a lot about sales, and marketing goes along with that, but we haven't talked at all about social media. Do you use social media? How does that play out in your sales process?
So yeah, we do social media. I have a marketing person. I have two dedicated marketing people, and they are fantastic. And they have made such a difference in our company. For years, I don't understand marketing that well. I do know how to sell, and I do know how to put a deal together, but I don't have a marketing background. So my marketing person and her helper, her assistant, are unbelievable. And they reworked our website. They're consistent with our message. They eliminated SEO, and our ratings are going up. They're growing, and our results are happening. We track who visits our website. Now we're trying to figure out how to get in touch with the people who track our website. But we signed a deal to build a new dealership that came right off of marketing. I had nothing to do with it other than, sure, I signed a deal with them, but if it wasn't for marketing, it wouldn't have happened. So it's been working really well, and social media definitely plays a huge role in it. You know, posts to Instagram, to Facebook, to LinkedIn. We have a LinkedIn REDCOM page, and I have a LinkedIn page. And these podcasts are helpful and be available to people if they call you or if they send you an email. We can respond back to them.
Okay. No, that's great. And you said something powerful there. You know, you're a salesperson, but you don't understand marketing that well.
Right.
And a lot of people assume that they're the same thing.
No, they're totally.
Yeah. And you could be good at sales and not good at marketing, or great at marketing and not good at sales. So, you know, it's important to understand that, you know, you have to do both. And you mentioned, you know, I always say the better you market, the easier it is to sell. But if you get good enough at marketing, you don't have to sell anymore.
Right. And another key thing is to know your own personal strengths and weaknesses. So I know that I don't know much about marketing. I know my weaknesses, and I surround myself with people that complement that.
Excellent.
And I try to surround myself with smart people. I have 6 people on my team. 2 of them have MBAs. One of them has a degree, and one's going for his master's degree. So I have smart people that work with me.
Excellent. Excellent. So, okay. So now, you know, we've covered a lot. You know, as we talked about, an hour goes real fast.
Yeah.
But, you know, before we close out, definitely want to ask you to sort of share the top 3 things that people should take away from what we talked about.
Okay.
Because, you know, many times people can't remember more than 3 things. And just so, you know, they can, you know, we talked about a lot, so they can focus in and think about, well, what can I do starting tomorrow based on the discussion tonight? So I'll give you a minute to think about that, and I'll play a video about our Masterpreneur combo, and then we'll come back and go through those 3.
All right, perfect.
Ever wonder why some businesses succeed while other ones flounder or just plain fail? It's all about having a solid game plan, knowing what to do, how to do it, and when to do it, because your business can only go as far as you're prepared to take. How can you acquire the knowledge, the skills, and perspective that you need to succeed? What if you could learn the secret sauce in a matter of hours from the comfort of your own home or office? Now you can. I'm Andrew Frazier. I've written a series of books outlining my proven proprietary Masterpreneur playbook framework that has helped more than 1,000 business owners to succeed. By reading the handbook and completing the workbook exercises chapter by chapter, you will actively learn how to become more effective at sales, marketing, financial management, operations, and more. Then, the playbook will guide you through the critical stages of business development and personal evolution necessary to work on your business and scale it successfully. As a result, you'll create a sustainable business that can run successfully without you. Here's what others are saying about my methods.
Andrew's books are outstanding. They're easy to read. They're interesting to read, and they will take you every step of the way from startup to scaling if you're willing to put in the work and you're willing to put in the time.
Good practical information that is good for both entrepreneurs or budding entrepreneurs. And Andrew breaks it down in a very understandable way.
He's been helping me with my financials, making sure everything's together, what's working versus what's not working in my business, so that I'm working on my business and not in my business, period.
If you want to work on your business and scale successfully, you need my Masterpreneur combo, the handbook, the workbook, and the playbook. Act now to take advantage of a special offer for my Masterpreneur combo and save over 25%. I'll also sign and ship all 3 books for free. This is a limited time offer that can only be accessed using the direct link below. www.sbprouU.com/combo. Get your Masterpreneur combo today. Once again, that's www.sbprouU.com/combo. Okay, welcome back. I'm here with Sam Rockaway. And before we close out today's episode of Leadership Live at 8:05 Talking Small Business, our topic's about engineering your sales process for consistent revenue. And Sam, so what are 3 things that you want people to take away from our discussion tonight?
I would say the 3 things that I came up with would be: create value for your clients by becoming a trusted advisor. I said at one point during our hour that you want to look at you want to ask them about their master plan, their next 5 or 10-year plan. And then if they share it with you, so ask them that question. If they share it with you, write it down, follow up, see if you can help them in any way. And don't make it about the sale, make it about them. And you will become a trusted advisor for them. The second point is create a sales process that helps you qualify your prospects. So if you have whatever you have, 1, 2, 3, 4 stages, whatever it is, put some qualifiers in the beginning. So when you're sitting across from a prospect, you inherently ask the right qualifying questions. And you'll find that in the long run, you're going to save time, and it'll give you the ability to know that you're either with a good prospect or you should move on to someone else. And then the last thing, it might sound simple, but have fun, smile, and say hello to everyone. If you walk into a building to meet someone, you want to meet the owner, don't discount anybody along the way. You just don't know who they are. Just be nice, smile. If you ever need a favor, if you ever need to get in through the phone call, these people are going to help you. And having fun, to me, is important. I love what I do. I love my team. And we all have a lot of fun, and we laugh and have a great day. And I think it helps.
Okay, great. So, creating value, definitely qualification to really save time, but also make sure that it's the right fit, and then have fun. One of the things that I always like working with people is, most business owners didn't get into business to market and sell. So, they dread it. But, once your business gets to a certain point, that's really what you should be focused on. But I find that a lot of them become really good at it and enjoy it, because you're really, if you're doing it right, you're not selling, you're just providing solutions and solving people's problems, which they appreciate, and you feel good about it.
Yeah.
So even if you're not fond of selling right now, it can get much better.
Selling's not easy. There's good days and bad days, but there's more good than bad, in my view.
Definitely. So no, this is great, Sam. I definitely appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to hang out tonight. We've got your website in the chat, so anyone wants to learn a little bit more about REDCOM, it's right in the chat. And as well, we've got you your LinkedIn profile. So if you want to connect with Sam, definitely you can do it through here as well. So thank you so much, Sam, for hanging out. Anything you want to share before?
Thanks for having me on the show. I really enjoy it, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity. So thank you.
Okay, my pleasure. And yeah, if you can hang out a little bit longer, that would be great. And let me close things out. So, okay, well, once again, appreciate Sam, sharing some great information. Definitely appreciate everybody's comments as well. Definitely, it's good to see that you found this show valuable as well, and that's really why we do it. So thanks to you guys as well. And then as every week we have a new guest, great topics, and next week we've got discover your gift, harness your talents, and really, you go through life, and it may take a little while to find your fit. But we've got our guest coming on, and he's going to talk about how you may be able to figure that out sooner and clearer. So, we've got Dr. Ravi Iyer, and, that's really his specialty. And, hopefully we can, we should have a great show. So if you can join us, definitely invite you to do that. And, as we always say, at the end of the day, the more that you know, the faster and more successfully your business is going to grow.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpru.com.
Okay.